By July 2026, a small circle of Western frontier labs had established themselves as the primary gatekeepers of high-level artificial intelligence. Organizations like OpenAI and Anthropic were the only providers of the most capable computing systems in the world. These companies have spent months advising governments that frontier models are a public safety risk. Their argument is consistent. The technology is too powerful for general release and requires strict oversight and closed access. This focus on safety aligns perfectly with their commercial interests. By keeping the weights of their models behind proprietary APIs, they maintain a multi-billion-dollar monopoly on every token of intelligence generated. That control was challenged by the sudden arrival of the Chinese AI lab, Moonshot. They released a new model called Kimi K3. The model operates at a scale that was previously restricted to closed systems. At 2.8 trillion parameters, K3 matches or exceeds the raw scale of the most advanced Western models, including Claude Fable and GPT 5.6 Sol. While Western labs charge for every interaction, Moonshot took a different path. They released the model's weights for free, allowing anyone with the hardware to run the system without a subscription. This move caused immediate friction in Washington. There are already active discussions about entity listing Chinese AI labs and calls to ban these models from the American market entirely. In a single release, a central pillar of the Silicon Valley business model has been targeted. The capability that companies were once renting out for a premium is now being distributed as a free commodity. K3 is built for heavy lifting, utilizing a 1 million token context window specifically tuned for long-horizon reasoning and complex coding tasks. Its performance relies on a specific architectural design, known as a mixture of experts, or MOE. The system is composed of 896 distinct experts, but only activates exactly 16 nodes per token. Think of it like a department where 16 specialists are doing all the work, while 880 remain on the sidelines. This selective activation scales efficiency 2.5 times over its predecessor. Demand was so high upon release that it overwhelmed Moonshot's infrastructure. Their servers buckled under the load, and paid GPU plans sold out instantly. The release was accompanied by impressive numbers, specifically a first-place ranking on the front-end code arena with a 1,679 ELO. On paper, it was the new world leader in coding. However, these benchmarks were often conducted using Moonshot's own internal code harness. Because competitors were tested on different frameworks, K3 likely benefited from a significant home field advantage. Independent analysis suggests the model still struggles with accuracy. Researchers found a 51% hallucination rate, which is a major liability for a coding assistant. It also tends to be overly verbose, generating unnecessary tokens that increase operational costs. There is also the issue of accessibility. While the weights are free to download, running a 2.8 trillion parameter system requires a data center caliber GPU array. It's simply not something a standard consumer can host at home. Despite the breakthrough, K3's dominance is currently propped up by brute force scaling and favorable testing conditions, rather than a flawless internal logic. Moonshot isn't alone. This release accelerated a trend across the Chinese tech sector, with rivals like Alibaba releasing 2.4 trillion parameter open-weight models. At the World AI Conference, the geopolitical positions on technology took an unexpected turn. China's leadership emerged as the primary global voice advocating for open-source AI and the free sharing of technology. This stands in direct contrast to Silicon Valley, where American tech leaders are now the ones warning against the dangers of open weights and calling for tighter regulations. OpenAI's Dean Ball went as far as to describe open-weight models as inherently decelerationist, suggesting that making these tools accessible to all is a threat to progress. This creates a strange new landscape for the industry. Many American firms are now building walls around their systems, while Beijing frames open-source access as a strategic priority. This tension between open access and corporate control has strong historical parallels to the software conflicts of 30 years ago. Today's warnings about OpenAI echo the 1990s, when Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer famously labeled the open-source Linux operating system as communism because it threatened his company's control of the desktop. The current hostility toward open weights follows the same logic. These models divert enterprise revenue away from the lab's proprietary platforms, breaking the financial link that gives frontier labs their power. Prediction markets currently show only a 29% chance of a formal U.S. ban on these models, but the pressure to restrict access via regulation is mounting every day. The AI arms race has moved past the engineering of neural networks. It is now a geopolitical struggle over the control of foundational technology and who is allowed to use it.